Love it. Love, love, love. Tweet, tweet. Woo! Love. Thank you. Thank you. So happy to be in the bubble. Love it. Aren't you all the luckiest people in the world? Oh my God, I envy you. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Oprah. Oh, I can't believe I just said that. So we have been so excited and eagerly anticipating this day. This campus has been buzzing since the announcement was made last week that you'd be coming here. And
Thanks for the buzz. I'm so glad I still have buzz. So good.
I received a lot of support and advice from my friends, and that was really great. And I just wanted to say, I think the best advice I heard was, don't worry, Amanda, if you mess up, Oprah can just interview herself. So if I falter, feel free to ask yourself some questions, and we'll begin. But to get things started, I thought we'd frame today's talk with framing 3 sections with quotes of yours that you shared after wrapping up your 25th season and final season of the Oprah Winfrey Show. And I thought some of these quotes, I mean, you share so much wisdom, but these really spoke to me and thought would be a great way to frame our discussion. Okay. So this first one that I will read for everyone and for you, so you don't have to strain your neck, is you have to know what sparks the light in you so that you, in your own way, can illuminate the world. So I wanted to take this time to talk about your early career and how you discovered your calling. So let's go back to when you were college age. Did you know that you wanted to get into TV and media specifically?
No, I did not. I thought that I was going to be a teacher. I was in my sophomore class at Tennessee State University. I'd already been working in radio since I was 16. And I remember I was in Mr. Cox's drawing class for theater. And I was a terrible drawer. He said I couldn't draw a straight line with a ruler. And I got a call in that class from a guy at the local station, CBS. And he'd been calling me several times when I was working in radio. So I started working in radio at 16. I won the Miss Fire Prevention contest, another long story. And so when I went back to the station to pick up my prize, some guy said, "Would you like to hear your voice on tape?" I said, "Sure." And I started reading this copy on tape. They called everybody in the building, said, "Hear this kid read." I was 16, they hired me in radio. So I was in radio at 16. And so I started getting calls about my freshman year to come into television. I had never thought about it. And still was living at home and couldn't figure out how I would manage those. I had biology at 1 o'clock, and so I couldn't figure out how I would be able to manage my schedule. And Mr. Cox said to me, the same professor said you can't draw a straight line with a ruler. He said, I came back from taking this phone call, and he said, "Who was that?" I said, "There's this guy at CBS, he keeps calling me and wants me to interview for a job." And Mr. Cox said, "That is why you go to school, fool." So that CBS can call you. That is why you're in school. So he said, you leave now and go call him back. And I did, and I was hired in television, not knowing anything about it. Mm-hmm. Having in mind Barbara Walters, but thinking, oh, okay, I can do that. Not knowing how to write or film or anything. Mm. And I think it was because it was the times, and I literally had somebody who was willing to work with me that I managed to find my way. But I had to find my way because the reporting never really fit me. And what did work for me, I'm this old, I'm so old that when I started that it was a year of live action cam. And so it was like video cameras live. And so the news stations would do a live shot. They would throw to somebody live, even if nothing was going on, just so they could say, live action cam. And what I found is I wasn't so good at the writing part, but if I was just standing up and talking about what had just happened, it was really good.
Right.
And then I started to feel, so I started in 19, working in television, became an anchor immediately afterwards. My father still had an 11 o'clock curfew. Can you believe such a thing? That I am the 10 o'clock anchor. In Nashville, Tennessee, I am the woman on the newscast, reading the news, and my father would say, be home by 11. And I'd say, Dad, the news is on at 10. He goes, and it's off at 10:30, so be home by 11. So I had a very strict father. So anyway, I could feel inside myself that reporting was not the right thing for me, even though I was happy to have the job.
Right.
I got an offer to go to Atlanta. I was making $10,000 a year in 1971, but still in college, so I was thinking I was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I got an offer to go to Atlanta for $40,000, which I thought, it's over. I'm gonna make $40,000. And my boss at the time said to me, you do not know what you don't know. And you need to stay here until you can learn to write better, until you can perfect your craft as a journalist. And so he said, and we can't give you 40, but we can give you 12. So I stayed, and you know the reason why I stayed is because I could feel inside myself that even though the 40 was alluring at the time, that he was absolutely right. So to make a long story short, because I'd be here all day just talking about how it all came about, I started listening to what felt like the truth for me. A couple of years later, I moved to Baltimore. I could feel that as a reporter, and by this time, 22, I'm making 22,000. I met my best friend Gail there who said, oh my God, can you imagine if you're 30 and you're making 30,000? And then you're 40 and then it's 40,000? We actually had that conversation in the bathroom. So I started to feel that reporting wasn't for me. But I had my father, I had my friends, everybody was saying, oh my God, you're an anchor woman, you're on TV, I mean, you can't give up that job. Right. And by the time I was making 25, my father goes, well, you just hit the jackpot, you're not gonna make no more money than that, that's just it. So I was torn between what the world was saying to me and what I felt to be the truth for myself. It felt like an unnatural act for me reporting, although I knew that to a lot of people it was glamorous. And I started to just inside myself think, what do I really want to do, what I really want to do. And I will say this, knowing what you don't want to do is the best possible place to be if you don't know what to do. Because knowing what you don't want to do leads you to figure out what is it you really do want to do.
So you discovered talk then, right? Around that time?
I didn't discover talk, I got demoted. They wanted to fire me, but I was under contract. And they didn't want to give up the 25,000. So they were trying to keep me on to the end of the year. So they put me on this talk, this is the way life works. They put me on a talk show to try to avoid having to pay me the contract out. And the moment I sat on the talk show, interviewing the Carvel ice cream man in his multiple flavors, I knew that I had found home for myself. Because when I was a news reporter, it was so unnatural for me, to cover somebody's tragedies and difficulties, and then to not to feel anything for it. And I would go back after a fire, and I would take them blankets, and then I would get a note from my boss saying, "What the hell are you doing?
Right.
You're just supposed to report."
Can't be that empathetic.
You can't not be that empathetic, and it felt unnatural for me. So if I were to put it in business terms, or to leave you with the message. The truth is, I have from the very beginning listened to my instinct. All of my best decisions in life have come because I was attuned to what really felt like the next right move for me. And so it didn't feel right. I knew that I wouldn't be there forever. I never even learned the streets in Baltimore because I thought, I was there longer than I thought. I was there 8 years. I should have learned the street. But I kept saying to myself, I'm not going to be here long. I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be here, so I'm not going to learn the streets. So when I got the call to come to Chicago, after starting with a co-anchor and working in talk for several years, I knew that it was the right thing to do. And I knew that even if I didn't succeed, because at the time there was a guy named Phil Donahue, who was the king of talk, and was on in Chicago, and every single person except my best friend Gail said, you're going to fail. Every single person when I left, my bosses by this time thought I was terrific and said, you're walking into a landmine, you're going to fail, Chicago's a racist city, you're black, you're not going to make it. Everything to keep me staying. They then offered me a car and an apartment and all this stuff. And I said, no, if I fail, then I will find out what is the next thing for me, what is the next true thing for me.
It felt right to you, so you went for it.
Because it felt like this is now the move I need to make. And I was not one of those people, all of my, the people who worked with me in news, they would have their tapes and they'd have their stories and they'd have, resumes ready. I didn't have any of that because I knew that the time would come where what I needed would show up for me.
Okay.
And when that showed up, I was ready. Because my definition of luck is preparation meeting the moment of opportunity.
Right.
And I was prepared to be able to step into that world of talk in a way that I knew I could do it.
Great.